Hey everyone! Thank you for joining Alphia and me this week as we discuss Lying Eyes, starring Cassidy Rae. If you are a fan of 90s TV movies on Lifetime, you might know her as the Cameron Diaz lookalike, who also played victim Adrian Jones in the based on a true story movie Love's Deadly Triangle, aka Swearing Allegiance, based on the true story about the teenage couple who sacrifice a peer in the name of love. Before we begin, please subscribe to my channel, like, and comment on this video. We love to get your input. And please follow Alphia Williams' channel as well, if you like Lifetime and Hallmark movie reviews, as well as funny skits. So on to Lying Eyes. It was released in 1996. Lion Eyes is the name of an Eagles song, by the way. Just an interesting bit of trivia there for you. Amy Miller is an 18-year-old cheerleader, but the dark-haired creepster watching her in the bleachers has no way of knowing how old she is. For all he knows, she's a freshman or sophomore. She was 17 just a month ago. I doubt she's changed much in appearance in the past month, but he's clearly checking her out because on the drive home, while Dreams by Cranberries plays, he rams into the back of her car, and I just know that was not an accident. Amy is super worried about how this will impact her insurance, as a teen girl would be, even though she wasn't to blame because he crashed into her. But this guy is so nice. He, offers to take care of everything for her at his garage. Here's his business card. She could set it all up with the secretary. What an absolute doll. Imagine rear-ending a teenager and then being so thoughtful as to take responsibility for the costs. Cute lawyer doing the bare minimum for a girl he screwed over? He's 1 in a million. Right away, Amy knows he's a keeper. Personally, I didn't think he was all that cute. Now Amy is talking to her mother about a story she's trying to write for the school paper about a case of harassment. She's being censored. You would think someone writing about harassment would be able to pick up on a few red flags herself, but if she had that ability, the movie would have been over in 10 minutes. Amy's mother is easily distracted because she works for a living. She's a realtor, another profession known for deception. I'm thinking of that Simpsons episode where Marge sells a death house to the Flanders. Or what about the stepfather? That guy would marry a woman, kill her family, then go on to marry another woman and try to kill her and her child until he was stopped by an adolescent. He was a realtor and he was pretty shady. I don't know who Amy's supposed to trust in this movie when her own mother is a realtor. Amy's mother calls her Peaches and Pumpkin, and the young girl bristles at that because it makes her feel edible. So Amy's car is now all fixed at Derek's garage. I assume it's the garage he frequents and not one he actually owns because he's a lawyer, not a car repairman. Though I suppose that's also a pretty shady business when you think about all of the upselling that car repairmen do. Derek has more work done to Amy's car than was necessary, including having a CD player installed. He gifts her with a few CDs, all wrapped up with a nice little bow. Amy is speechless. Given the fact that one of the CDs is Hootie and the Blowfish, I'm not sure how much of a favor this truly is, unless she was in need of a Frisbee. Derek invites Amy to dinner, and of course she can't refuse because he just bought her a new Frisbee and a dashboard compartment to store it in. Once again, I'm not sure how he knows she's 18, unless he asked her for her license earlier. He might have. That's actually a very good reason to meet girls by crashing into their cars, by the way. It gives you an excellent reason to ask for their ID. At dinner, she tells him that she hopes to enter into a dance therapy program at the university. This reminds me of Buffy the Slayer of Vampires, saying in the movie version that she's heard there are professional buyers out there, and that she's thinking she might want to look into that as a future career option. But Derek overflatters Amy by telling her how compassionate she must be to want to help people. He's not at all concerned about the fact that he's in his 30s and she's still in high school, by the way, so she could put that fear to bed. That's very reassuring to know that he's not bothered by the fact that he's seducing a barely legal high school cheerleader. The date goes well, so he asks her for a second one at his beach house. She just can't get over how perfect he is. He graduated from Stanford and quotes poetry. But Amy shouldn't sell herself short. She's got some fine qualities herself. Not only is she blonde and a cheerleader, but she's also receptive to male attention and has clearly been taught to respect her elders. A match made in heaven. Meanwhile, Amy's best friend Dana, who looks like a mixture of Brittany Murphy and Sarah Michelle Gellar, has an older sister who warns Amy to take it easy. But what does she know? She only goes to state college. So Amy and Derek have their beach house date. Blah, blah, blah. He gives her sexy lingerie. blah, blah, blah. She's not sure they should be doing this. He's like, you can say no at any time, and yet he keeps kissing her. Amy is getting home late at night, worrying her mother and skipping practice. Her friend is starting to feel neglected, as is the job of the friend in a 90s movie involving teens. There are so many warning signs with this guy. Oh, sure, he gives Amy the key to his beach house so she and her friends can stop by anytime, and this is supposed to reassure her that he's not bringing other women there. Or maybe his ass is so rich that he has a separate beach house for each woman he sees. I don't know. I'm just throwing thoughts out there. There's the fact that he's never free on weekends. Also the fact that he's so gung-ho about just handing over the key to his beach house to some little blonde teenager he only just met. Isn't he worried about parties and drink stains on the carpet? Makes me think he definitely sees his beach house as expendable, which means he probably has got plenty more where this one came from. Things start getting weird for Amy at school and at home now. Someone shreds her jacket and leaves the evidence in her gym locker. Her friend Dana tells her a red-haired woman was asking questions about her. Who is this mystery red-haired woman, and what does she want with Amy? Derek gives Amy a nice tennis bracelet. I have no idea what the heck a tennis bracelet is. I would have thought that was just another name for a scrunchie. Soon after, we see him drive home to greet his wife and kids. So, yeah, if you were wondering what a great catch like Derek Bradshaw was doing single at 30-something years old, he's not actually single. So, there you go. Bet you didn't see that one coming. Amy now has to deal with hate mail from this mystery person bent on making her life a living hell. Amy reassures her mother it's no big deal. All the cheerleaders have been receiving messages about their whoring ways. This too shall pass. Amy's going through a lot, but Dana's sister Jen is awfully supportive. A supportive surrogate big sis? That's nice. So anyway, Dana breaks Amy's bracelet, and this leads to Amy going to the shop where it was purchased. I can't believe Derek told her where it was purchased. Now she finds out that her man has been buying tennis bracelets for other women around town. Well, one other woman in particular. The man at the counter of the jewelry store lets it slip that Mr. Bradshaw bought 2 identical bracelets at the same time. But he can't tell her where the other bracelet was delivered to because he's already revealed too much. And if he tells her more, I am assuming he will have to kill her. She manages to catch a quick glimpse of the computer screen, and somehow that's enough for her to take in the address the bracelet was sent to and store it in her short-term memory. She decides to swing by this address just to check it out. A song plays in the background that resembles Heart of Glass by Blondie. Just a little bit, but I don't think I've ever heard this song before outside of this movie. It might be a cheap knockoff. TV movies sometimes do that. Write a song for the film that vaguely resembles a popular one so that they don't have to pay the royalties, I presume. Not sure how that works. Amy sees a red-haired woman playing soccer with her kids in the front yard. Beautiful wife. 2.5 kids. This guy is living the dream, while Amy's just lagging behind, eating his dust. It kind of feels like the plot line of an Olivia Rodrigo song. Amy confronts Derek's lying, cheating ass at his office. Good. She tries to remain strong, but he chips away at her resolve by telling her his marriage is crumbling, and if she can be patient, he'll soon be free of the ball and chain, and they can go back to boinking like bunny rabbits. His kids, don't worry about them. They'll always have an important place in his heart. Why didn't Amy just quit while she was ahead? Why didn't she tell him, you could be telling me the truth and I'm going to choose to believe you and end things now while I can still hold on to the precious memories? Does she do that, though? No. Apparently, Amy has been doing more than skipping the occasional practice here and there. She's also been cutting class. Her mother got a call from the good old guidance counselor, so guess what? Amy's grounded. Will that stop her from sneaking out to be with Derek? Ha! Think again. Amy accuses her mother of being a workaholic. The mother makes a great point that someone needs to pay the bills around here. And I don't see you making any money from these forbidden trees with Derek, so you can just shut your mouth. Her mother doesn't know about the trees yet. Amy runs into Derek and his wife at a restaurant later. What are you doing here? She asks Derek. What stimulating conversation. Clearly he's there to eat. His wife is fascinated by this blonde teenager whose car her husband smashed into not too long ago. So she insists Amy join them at their table so she can ask the young girl to rate her high school experience on a scale of 1 to 10. Research, for when the kids get a little older. Right. Now surrogate big sis Jen is saying the time has come to bail on this guy. But Amy decides to stop by an empty house where her mother is waiting for some prospective buyers and then offer to wait for the tardy couple so her mother can get to her appointment in time. This gives Amy the opportunity to act scared in a spooky house during a rainstorm because we gotta have that scene. Also, she stumbles across a photo of her and Derek doing the nasty, stabbed into the wall with a knife. I admit, that's kind of ominous, and I'm not sure what it's doing in this random house, but oh well. I can't believe we're only 40 minutes into this movie. When are they going to wrap things up already? There's a scene sometime after this where Dana talks to Amy in the shower room at school. By the way, Amy is done with Derek by this point. They've broken things off. So after Dana leaves, Amy goes into the sauna and someone turns the heat up, then locks the door so Amy's trapped. Reminds me of my favorite R.L. Stine Fear Street book from back in the day, Cheerleaders, The First Evil. In that book, the main character, Bobby, gets trapped in a scalding locker room shower and dies. Amy, unlike Bobby, doesn't die because she has a stalker named Derek who shows up at the most convenient opportunity possible to save the day. Does she thank him, though? No. Now that she's safe from the steam, his stalking of her is really cramping her style. So Amy starts to suspect that Elizabeth Bradshaw is the one who's been tormenting her. Some more harassment follows at a truck stop after an away game. Dana hates away games, by the way, because she has to wait until after the game to eat at some crummy truck stop. First of all, I'm sure the food at the truck stop is fine. I'm sure it's more than fine. I'm sure it would be the bright spot in my week as a teenager. Second of all, hasn't she ever heard of an after-school snack? Are you honestly telling me she made it on the cheer squad without figuring out how to work a vending machine? Anyway, I have no idea why Amy hates her friends so much that she feels the need to abandon them at the truck stop diner just so that she could go get lost in the parking lot while in search of the bus. And not sure why the bus driver hates the kids so much that he had to hide from them. How the hell does one get lost looking for a school bus outside of a truck stop diner? Amy gets pushed in front of a truck that's about to run her down and nearly loses her life for, the second time in this movie, but it won't be the last. She'll decide to go driving alone at night later on and end up nearly getting run off a cliff. By the way, we find out at this point that it's Jen behind the wheel of the other car, but Amy doesn't know this yet. Jen was also the name of the villain in The First Evil who caused Bobby Corcoran to get scalded alive in the shower, by the way. Another interesting connection between this movie and that Fear Street novel from a few years earlier. So Amy goes to Dana's house. Dana tells her she needs to go to her mother and the cops. Amy says she needs more time before she does that. More time to do what? Potentially die? Amy does eventually tell her mother, and they go straight to the cops. The cops can't do anything because a terrified girl telling them she's being stalked isn't enough evidence for them to investigate shit. The officer says they get tons of these complaints, and they can't pursue them all. So there are hundreds of girls getting locked in saunas and nearly driven off cliffs in this town on a daily basis? What kind of frickin' place is this? Frickin' Fear Street? So the police officer finally agrees to do his job, and he questions Elizabeth Bradshaw. Having her good name dragged into this is what finally causes her to snap. Not her husband's string of endless infidelities. Not the fact that he's cheating on her with girls he picked up at high school sporting events. It's the fact that she has egg on her face as far as the local PD is concerned. But they really have nothing to hold her on, so she'll be fine. But you can bet that divorce will finally be going through. So, since Elizabeth is in the clear, who is the one who's stalking Amy and being a little bit more than your typical pain in the ass? She has no clue, but I'll find out, she says. Really? I thought she was going to just let it go and hope it works out in her favor. Honestly, though, I think if she did just let it go and continue on the path she'd been on of ignoring Derek and his sleazy advances, it probably would have worked out because that's this shadowy person's clear end goal. But she's a teenager in a poorly scripted TV movie, so of course she can't do anything illogical like that. Instead, she decides to go snooping in Derek's law office, and when he catches her doing that, she decides she will seduce him and convince him to meet her at his beach house so that she can, charm him into giving her a list of ex-lovers and potential suspects? You guessed it, that's exactly what she's going to do. Jen stalks her at the beach house and hides in the back seat of her car so that she can surprise Amy on the road. This is the 90s. Hasn't Amy learned to always check behind your front seat every time you climb into the car? Apparently not. Jen is a previous lover of Derek, and she seems to think that it's Amy that's standing in the way of her future happiness. Not the fact that he's still technically married. Not the fact that he's a lying, cheating bastard. But the fact that Amy had sex with him, no longer wants him, but keeps frickin' around with him anyway in her effort to find out who's stalking her when all Jen wants is for Amy to stop frickin' with her man so that things can go back to normal. What the hell am I watching? Jen tries again to kill Amy, this time by setting her car on fire, thinking that this will convince people Amy died by her own hand. Yep, the old suicide by car fire, a classic for a reason. She doesn't succeed in burning Amy alive in a makeshift vehicular funeral pyre, but she does temporarily get trapped in the fiery car herself before Amy has a pang of compassion for her arch nemesis and decides to save her life. Jen is touched. Amy says she knows why she did it. There's just something about Derek Bradshaw. Women can't seem to help throwing themselves at him and then ultimately attempting to kill their sister's best friend over him by lighting a car on fire. Amy graduates. A new class enters, but Derek is still pulling his same old shit. Attending cheerleading practice, watching the young girls as they jiggle and shake their pom-poms, and so the cycle repeats. Yet another year where no one questions the presence of this douchey-looking 30-something-year-old lawyer ogling the teenagers in their cheer uniforms before following one to a stop sign and accidentally letting his foot slip from the brake. Clues: Jen was the killer. She told Amy not to go to the police even after she was shoved in front of a running truck and nearly burned to a crisp in a sauna. Who the heck says that to their friend? Also, at one point, she asks Amy about her new boyfriend, Dan. His name is Derek. Only a killer would forget her friend's sister's boyfriend's name. Also, there's no reason for her to exist in this movie universe other than to be the villain, who takes you by surprise. Otherwise, why not just have Dana be the supportive friend who doesn't nag? Why give those qualities to this annoying sister who gets on my nerves every time she appears on screen to spout relationship cliches? I give this movie a 3 out of 5. It's really very basic, but it's a movie I can watch again and again with maybe a year or two between screenings just to keep things fresh. What are your thoughts, Alphia? Do spill the tea, please.
Hey everyone, it's your girl Alphia. Thank you so much, Jennifer, once again letting me come onto your channel. So we are talking about Lying Eyes. So this movie opens up with my girl Amy. She is a cheerleader and she is a senior. And her best friend is, drumroll, Danny. Now Danny is, how do we expect? Danny is one of those friends that try to kind of stay on her case. So this is not really a sad ending to the movie. If you haven't already, please subscribe to Jennifer's channel. She's awesome. Me and her do a lot of collaborations, and we also do collaborations on mine. But let's get into Lying Eyes. Now, Amy is a senior in high school, like I said, and she is, of course, 18. And she meets a guy one day that was actually, if you pay attention, why is a grown man at a high school game that's lusting by himself? And I want to hear, oh well, and it looks like they're at a pep rally. I don't see no game going on. I see it looked like a little pep rally. So no one else thinks that's creepy, even though this movie is based in the 90s. Okay, so Amy meets Derek. Derek is married, and Derek has a wife named Elizabeth, and they share 2 beautiful children, as we know of, we see in the movie. Now, Derek is not squeaky clean. He is a lawyer, and he runs his Mercedes-Benz into Amy's little Honda. And he offers to fix it. He says, take it to my mechanic or whatever, get it fixed or whatever. So he gets her a new radio, gets her car fixed, gives her a new radio and some CDs. And she's just flattered by some CDs. Boy, this day and age, boy, I wonder what would have happened if Derek would have hit Amy this day and age of the 2000s, you say? I wonder what would have happened. Since we all don't have CD players, well, my car still has a CD player. It's a 2017. But what would have happened if Derek would have hit somebody's car now? Because, of course, they have USBs. People use USBs, Bluetooth, backup camera, and all this other stuff. So, just imagine what Derek would have had to do now. Because those cars, fender benders, are not cheap. Even though Derek had the money to get it fixed, he got it fixed. And he asked her, I just want a big case. And he wanted to take her to dinner. Red flags here. Amy should have paid attention to all the red flags. The first red flag was when she was trying to do stuff with him on the weekend. He was like, I'm busy on the weekend. That's a red flag. Cheers to that one. What's another red flag? He always wanted to take her somewhere that no one else would see her, like further away. Or go to his little beach house. And he had a nice beach house, And of course, he offers one day he offers her to come to the beach house. Of course, they end up doing the do. He gives her some white lingerie, and he bought the same girl the white lingerie. He gave Amy a bracelet. This is how Amy found out that Derek was married. Her bracelet got broke at school, and she thought her friend Dana basically was jealous of her. Dana was that friend that was watching out for her, that looked out for her. So, of course, the bracelet gets broke. So she takes the bracelet to go get fixed. And the guy said, oh, he bought it for another young lady. Messy. And then he tries to tell Amy when she confronted him about it, about his wife or whatever. He tries to confront her and say, we're not together, I'm just saying because kids want me to look out for my kids. Ain't that about about a man just sitting there lying saying he tried to get divorced? But please, he didn't even tell her from the beginning he was married. Then she runs into him and his wife at the pizza parlor. I think it was the pizza parlor. She ran into them because she was getting her some food. Now, mind you this, Amy's mom is a single parent. And she works in real estate. And she's working trying to make sure that her and Amy have a roof over her head. They're not doing too bad because Amy, of course, is in high school. And around that time, in the 90s, she had her own car. So they was doing pretty doggone good because Honda wasn't in bad shape. It was a stick shift. So Amy is venting before she finds out that, Derek is married or whatever. She is venting to Dana's sister, Jennifer. Now, you gotta watch out for Jennifer, because Jennifer is not as squeaky clean as you think. Jennifer was also bumping uglies with Derek, too, and Derek didn't want her no more. He saw a nice, tender, roasted skeezer, and he said, I want that one. And Amy was not a bad looker. She was really pretty. Had pretty long blonde hair, and she fit the critique. Heck, Jennifer was just like his wife because she had the same color hair or whatever. But hey, his wife Elizabeth wasn't a bad looker either. But Amy was young and she was naive. And she was in love with Derek. And she couldn't let go of Derek at first. But I was so proud of her when she did. But one red flag when I knew it was Jennifer. When Jennifer said with a straight face, when she was talking to her about Derek, about getting married. Well, not getting married, but she was messing with Derek, sorry. And she was like, she's trying to break it off or whatever. She's like, did you know anybody? Because, her Dana was like, you know everybody, Jennifer. And Jennifer's like, I don't know. I just knew, I heard about him messing with a girl. And he was a lawyer and the wife stopped it or whatever. No, tell the truth, Jennifer. But can you imagine your best friend Dana's sister, Jennifer, was dating the same guy you was dating? And she tries to kill you. She tries to run off the road first. She stole Mrs. Elizabeth Bradshaw's Jaguar and she runs Amy off the road trying to kill her. Then she hops in her back seat when Amy tries to break it off officially with Derek, and she leaves. And she is driving down the road and Jennifer's in the back seat with a slasher. And then she tries to set Jennifer's car on fire. Then she gets stuck in the car and Amy helps Jennifer. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. If she would let Jennifer get blazed up, I wouldn't even been mad. Because this is the same girl that was trying to kill you over a man that didn't want you. Like, oh my God. This movie is really good, but it's an eye-opener. Don't mess with married men. Stay away from married men. The only one that was smart enough to not mess with a married man after this was Amy. I think Jennifer will still go be with him if he would. And I'm glad Mrs. Elizabeth left that trifling man, because he didn't deserve her love. And them kids didn't deserve a daddy like that. And the bad part about it is, Elizabeth's dad helped him get that law firm. Like, basically, he gave him his law firm. Like, oh my God. Didn't need to. Elizabeth met I'm sorry. Oh, Jesus. I'm looking at Bradshaw. Sorry. Elizabeth met Derek at her dad's law firm, and she fell for him. And she got married to him. But this is not the first time. I'm going to go ahead and say I'm glad she wasn't one of the women saying, I'm going to keep my man even though he cheated on me, and but he still come home to me. Miss Elizabeth going to take him to the bank, and I hope she took him to the bank. I hope she got every red cent of his money, because he ought to be ashamed of himself sitting there messing with underage girls. And what was the youngest girl he ever messed with, I wonder? Because Jennifer was stalking Amy, and Amy was just going through it. She thought Mrs. Elizabeth Bradshaw was doing it. Miss Bradshaw wasn't. This is just like, okay, so Elizabeth is not like her sister Carrie Bradshaw. I had to bring that in there because, of course, even though it has nothing to ties into Sex and the City, I just thought about Bradshaw. But yes, but I hope you guys liked Lying Eyes, and I hope you guys enjoyed my review. I hope you guys enjoyed when me and Jennifer come collaborate together. And thank you again, Jennifer, for letting me come onto your channel. What was your thoughts? What did you think about, even though I just heard what you said, but what did you think? Do you think this is like one of those classic 90 movies that you can keep watching over and over again? I watched the movie for the first time a couple years ago. And then Jennifer was like, yeah, I asked her, I was like, let's do a collab on something. And she referred this movie to me again, even though I had watched it. I was like, okay, let's do it. Because I had to do a refresher because it had been a minute. But I remember why, what happened. I'm glad that it wasn't a sad ending and we had to sit up here and cry about something. I'm glad Amy got her revenge, and her revenge is to get away from that trifling guy named Derek Bradshaw. 2 claps. Because she clocked that T and she left. Even though it took her a little second, but not too long. And I love the fact that Elizabeth Bradshaw left too, because she did not deserve that either. She did not deserve no cheating man. And I hope she cleans him out. And I hope that Amy knows her worth, and I hope she got married. Even though this movie is, I don't think it's a true story, but it's a thriller / romance. I'm trying to figure out how it's romance because this man was married and she was about to get off because of Jennifer, because Jennifer was upset about him being married, and they was trying to blame it on Elizabeth Bradshaw. Elizabeth Bradshaw is more of class. But wait a minute, what if Jennifer and Elizabeth were working together? Let's just throw in some theories. What if they'd been working together and she was trying to off Amy because she was messing with her husband, and Amy knew about it? I'm gonna go ahead and say, what did Amy know when she first met did Elizabeth know about who Amy was when she first met her? That'd be my kicker too. But she did come to her house. My mom say this, baby, why you went to their house though? Because the first time you went to the house, you saw that she was outside playing with her kids, or even her kids outside, and then Mrs. Bradshaw joined them. Man, Amy went through too much. I'm glad she didn't stick around and say, hey, I'm gonna be with him because I really do love him. And there's nothing wrong with loving somebody, but I'm gonna say this, baby, he was married, so no, you didn't need that. But also, again, you live and you learn. You be young and stupid at a young age. And I'm glad I hope she wasn't stupid no more. But that's all I have for you guys. Thank you guys so much for letting me come in. And thank you, Jennifer, for letting me sit in and listen to your channel. Thank you. All right, bye.
Thanks so much for joining me, Alphia. Great to hear from you. Really great insights, as always. So that about wraps it up, guys. And by the way, I might be taking a little bit of a break this summer. I'm going to maybe post short videos here and there. I'm going to try to post a short video each week. We'll see how it goes. I'm going to be actually focusing on starting a blog on BC Andrews. So that's where my head's at. But yeah, I do still want to release some content here and there. I just may not be as consistent. So just a heads up. Thank you so much for joining us. Please subscribe to my channel. Please subscribe to Alphia's. Please like and comment on this video. And have a great day.